guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. I am a mum of 2 boys and really happen to love books. So if you would like to join us on my cosy little corner of the internet, then please consider subscribing or even liking this video. It would be amazing to have you here. Apologies, my filming setup is a little bit different than normal. I usually film right there in front of my bookshelf, but because we are now getting into winter and it was 0 degrees this morning, it's been really dark in this room and I've been really struggling to get good lighting by my bookshelf. So I think next year I am probably going to invest in like a proper ring light or a floodlight and a proper tripod as well, so that can improve my filming setup a little bit. But for now and during the winter season, this is probably going to be where I get the best lighting. So this is probably where I'm going to film for the foreseeable, so I hope that that is okay. So in this video I'm going to go through my 10 before the end. So these are 10 books that I want to read before the end of 2024. It's a bit ambitious because a lot of them are parts of series. I've got 2 books in a series here, another book in a series, a duology and a trilogy in this, so I am setting the bar quite high for myself, but I'm hoping I can at least get some of them read. So shall we jump into my 10 before the end? So the first book is actually a book I'm reading right now, and it is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin, and this is the second book in the Serpent and Dove trilogy. I am really enjoying this so far. I'm not getting the same 5-star vibes as I did with Serpent and Dove, but I am only 80 something pages in. I'm 97 pages into this and this is over 500 pages, so I'm probably not going to get that 5-star feeling until later in the book if it is going to be a 5-star, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. I'm not going to go through any of the plot points in this book, but it's basically the premise of the first book, which is called Serpent and Dove, is enemies to lovers, witch and a witch hunter get married, but the witch has to keep her identity hidden. Yeah, it's a really good enemies to lovers slow burn romance, and this is a continuation of that. So that is the first book on my 10 before the end. Next book is the third book in the Serpent and Dove series, which is Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. I have got no clue what this is about. I know that it's a direct continuation of Serpent and Dove and Blood and Honey, so I'm not going to read the synopsis or anything because it might give away some plot points of the second book, but that is another one on my TBR. Next is the second book in a series. I am waiting for the third book. It has been released, but for some reason Waterstones is taking its sweet time dispatching it to me. But the second book is The Hunting Moon by Susan Dennard, and this is the second book in the Luminaries trilogy. I have read the Luminaries already, but I might reread it before I read this one just because it was a while ago when I read the Luminaries. But the premise of the Luminaries is we follow Winnie Wednesday, and her and her family have been exiled after her father was feeding information from the Luminary clan to the Diana clan, which is the rival clan of the Luminaries. So they were exiled, but on her 16th birthday, Winnie decides to take part in the Luminary trials, to basically be a protector of the forest where these creatures and monsters come out at night. So she has to take part in these trials to basically restore her family's honour and her family's name, and she ends up winning the trials, but she also finds something else in the forest, but nobody believes her about it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword because she's now back into the Luminaries and her family's name has been restored, but no one believes her about this imminent danger that is coming, and this is a direct continuation of that storyline. So I'm not going to read anything on the back because I don't want anything to get spoiled, but yeah, I'm very excited to read this. Next is a duology, so I'm going to include both of these in here. So I've been so excited to read these for so long, and they've been on my bookshelf for so long, so I'm hoping that I can get them read because I've heard that autumn and winter is the perfect time to read them, and it is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. So we follow, I think it's Iris and Rowan. When 2 rival journalists find love through a magical connection, their fate depends on facing the depths of hell together. An epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. That sounds so good. And I'm so glad that I've got the UK covers as well. I think the US covers are really pretty, but there's just something about these covers here that are just absolutely stunning. So Ruthless Vows is a direct continuation of Divine Rivals, and I'm so excited to finally read this because they've just been sat on my bookshelf staring me in the face, and I think it's finally the right time to read them. So hopefully I can read them before the year is out. So next, I was going to put this on a winter TBR, but I'm thinking I'm just going to count this as my winter TBR because there's just so much on my bookshelves, and I just know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to read everything. So I'm probably going to do a winter recommendations video. That might be the next video that comes out, but we'll see. But the next book is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. So this, I've heard mixed reviews. I think the people that were disappointed by this book imagined it as a feminist retelling, whereas I've heard it's more of a reimagining of Macbeth. So it includes some of the characters from the original Macbeth story by Shakespeare, but it is a reimagining by Ava Reid. And I managed to get the Waterstones special edition, and I think it's signed, Yes, so it's signed there. The lady knows the stories that her eyes induce madness in men. The lady knows she will be wed to the Scottish brute who does not leave his warrior ways behind when he comes into the marriage bed. The lady knows his hostile, suspicious court will be a game of survival, requiring all of her wiles and hidden witchcraft to survive. So this sounds absolutely fantastic. I think I touched on Macbeth when I was in school, but we never really read it. So it'll be interesting to go in with no expectations, no comparison, because we never ended up reading Macbeth. We just touched on a couple of the plot points. So it's going to be very interesting to read this from a fresh feminist point of view. This one just has winter written all over it, and I have read one other book from this author, which was Midnight in Everwood, and this is Upon a Frosted Star by M.A. Kuzniar. So Midnight in Everwood was a Nutcracker retelling, and this is a Swan Lake retelling. I cannot talk today. So this is a Swan Lake retelling. When a struggling artist forced to find an invitation, he's bewitched by the magic of the evening, swept up in the glamour of this notorious annual party, and intrigued as to who is behind them. Forster discovers an abandoned manor silent with secrets and a cursed woman who is desperate to be free. I mean, these end papers as well, they are absolutely gorgeous. And I love this cover as well. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. I think this will be amazing to read in the winter time, and I'm probably going to reread Midnight in Everwood as well, just because the writing style of that. I know there were definitely flaws with the book, but it was just so beautifully written that I was willing to pass those flaws off. So I'm very excited to read this one as well and getting the nice cozy winter vibes. And the last three books I have mentioned these books so many times on my channel, but I've been kind of wanting to put it off because the author has actually announced a novella that will be coming, I think, October next year, but I can't keep holding off, and it is the Belladonna series by Adalyn Grace. So I believe that the novella, the Christmas novella, is going to be called Holly, which is very, very fitting. So we've got Belladonna, which is book 1, Foxglove, which is book 2, and Wisteria, which was released earlier this year. So in books 1 and 2, we're following Signa, and she has always seemed to evade death. It seems like she can't die, but she was orphaned as a baby, and she's been passed from family to family, but tragedy always strikes the family that she is staying with. So she seems to be cursed, but there is also a murder mystery in this book when she is left with the Hawthorne family, and the matriarch of this family has recently died. But then the ghost comes forward to Signa and says that she was poisoned. So she teams up with a personification of death. So death is a real person in this book. And they team up together to figure out this murder mystery. So this is a gothic YA fantasy with a bit of murder mystery sprinkled in. And I am so excited to delve into this series. But I'm trying to get through all the other books on my TBR first, because I know that I'm going to be blown away by this series and I'm not going to want to leave it. I think that's part of the reason why I'm kind of holding off on it, because I don't want to leave this universe, and I think I'll be very, very sad once I've read Wisteria. But the Christmas novella will kind of put me back into that world, I think. So yeah, those were the last books on my 10 before the end. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some inspiration for books to put on your 10 before the end. I cannot believe we are midway through November. At the time of filming this, today's the 20th of November. My son turns 1 tomorrow. My youngest son turns 1 tomorrow. He is a year old, and I cannot get over how fast this year has gone. It's just absolutely crazy how quickly this year has gone. But I am rambling. I hope that you have really enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more from my channel, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye!